things in life is not about what you think it is. It's just about making up your mind that you are not going to give up. You're not going to quit. So your boy went from being homeless to where I am now. And I failed classes, guys. Listen to me. Just because you fail don't make you a failure. And just because you lost don't make you a loser. And what I did that most people are not willing to do is I just never gave up. Consistent. I just never quit. All right, so we gonna get out here. I gotta go. I gotta let you go. I gotta let you go. But you gotta say it with me kids. You gotta let me say, woo! I can, I will, I must. Are you hearing me? I can, I will, I must. I leave you with this. I'm not telling you it's gonna be easy. I'm not saying that. But it's real simple. E.T., what do you mean? You can get through anything. Listen to me. You can make it through anything if you just say these words. So cut this thing off. I just want you to play your favorite song. Look. I want you to look in the mirror. And I want you to tell yourself, I am a survivor. Listen to me. You can get through this. You just got to work a little harder, right? You just got to press a little deeper. Listen to me. I don't know what you got to do, but I'm telling you, just don't give up and don't give in. And there's absolutely nothing you can't do. So if it was easy, everybody would do it. Hey, but I know something about you. If you're watching me, I know something about you. I know something about you. I know you're not a quitter. I know you're a survivor. I know you're a survivor. If you're watching me right now, I know something about you. You're a survivor. So I want you to get off this. I want you to cut it off. I want you to go in the mirror. I want you to make the rest of your life the best of your life. I can, I will, I must. I can, I will, I must. I can, I will, I must. It's your boy, E.T.
Hey guys, welcome to your weekly Team Perseverance team call. And before I go over some things, guys, there's a reason why. I just want to fix the video here. Hold on 1 second. There is a reason why that call was on. And some of you guys saw my video this week. But something real dear to this team, something that really hit home to this team in the last week to 2 weeks is that our diamond coach, Kelly Delavecchia, one of our leaders who guest spoke as the newest diamond about a month ago, was recently diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, okay? And Kelly is starting her journey of going through chemotherapy starting next week for the next 6 months. And I saw this video a couple weeks ago, and I sent it to Kelly. And ever since she's been posting and the other diamonds, our cover photo on our diamond page is I can, I will, I must. And Kelly, I know she was tired to get on this call tonight. I know she's been tired at night now, and it's all coming together what's been going on. But guys, this is for Kelly. Like, we have to be there for her. Our team is Team Perseverance for a reason. We do not ever give up. And Kelly, and I'm looking at you in the eye, and I think I saw you on the call, you are going to beat this bitch, all right? You are going to beat this. I want you to be strong. I know I said it in the message, but trust and believe you are a very strong, amazing person. You are a very strong, amazing leader, and I want you to really focus this next six months. Let us know we, the team, Team Perseverance, are here for you every single step of the way. And team, also, I did post up on our team page just to let you guys know, we started a fundraiser for Kelly. She's a school teacher, but obviously she's not going to be able to work when this starts. So even if you have $1 or anything that you can help with Kelly, I'll bump the post up to the top of our page, but I want to be able to help her as much as I can. We do not want to forget about her. And it's I can, I will, I must. She can, she will, and she must beat this as a mom of 3 little kids and going forward. So Kelly, you got this, girl. You got this. So that video is for you again, and you're freaking awesome, all right? So guys, moving on. Again, welcome to our team call this week on the 9th of February. My name is Dave Atkins. I'm your upline star diamond and founding coach of Team Perseverance. We're always getting new coaches on the call each week. This week alone, we added an abundant amount of coaches to our team, and I'm fired up. But for those of you that don't know me, I work full-time as a lieutenant with the state police, and my wife, Kristen Atkins, is a 2-star diamond coach and works full-time as a school teacher, and we have 3 little girls, ages 10, soon to be 7 and 3. So life is busy, right? Life is crazy and busy, but it's not about how busy you are. It's about how you take the busyness and you take the circumstances around you. You do not let them control you, and you live a life by design, right? We live a life by design, and it's about how we manage our 24. And because of that, I am blessed to have this team and grateful that each and every day we are growing and helping people and instilling hope in them that we're here to help them live a healthy, fulfilling life. So a couple of announcements, then some quick recognition, and then I am just really fired up with Tommy. I saw him on the screen on the call who's guest speaking tonight, guys, and I have a quick startup about that with how I connected with Tommy, and just, guys, it's just absolutely amazing what we have in store for us tonight. So first and foremost, our next team challenge group. All right, guys, it's next Monday the 16th. As you know, it's always the third Monday of every month. Why? So that we give you guys time to hit Success Club each and every month. So remember, I put the post up, but you are to coordinate with your upline diamond, and the instructions are there on how to be part of a challenge group next week on the 16th. So look for that post on our coaches page. Next, our February specials for challenge packs. You guys should all know it's all about autumn this month, and it's the 21-day fix and the 21-day fix extreme. That's are both on sale for $140. So be sure to be sharing that. And for those that have done 21-day fix, you now have 21-day fix extreme, which I myself, you saw my post tonight, one too many sweets. So I'm excited to get started on that. Third, we're in our final week of our challenge group. This is week 4 of our challenge group that would be January to February. So guys, our exit video, the one of Kristen and I that talks about the people's options about joining our team, that will be posted this week by the captains of your challenge group, okay? So have that. Make sure that hopefully your challenges should see that video. And guys, use the scripts that we created. Okay, so on the coaches page, under the files tab, if you guys remember, any newer coaches, there is a script that I made, okay? Email/message is the name of the document. Email/message to prospective coaches. So go in there, guys, and just copy and paste it, all right? This has been through trial and error 1,000 times. Copy and paste it after the video is posted about inviting them to join our team as a coach, all right? So that's 3. Number 4, 2 more announcements, and then we get into the recognition. Our coach sneak peek, I think, was a pretty good success. We had about 140 people that wanted to learn about team perseverance when we did it. It ended last week. I asked of the coaches that had people in there. I posted up a survey on the coaches page. I just asked you to take 1 minute and just please answer the questions. It's simple questions. How many people you had, any feedback you got, and what you thought of the group. Because, guys, you learn by your failures, right? We learn by the mistakes that we make. We fail forward, right? As John Maxwell says, we fail forward. So I want to learn. I want to hear it. If we screwed up somewhere or something could have been better or some feedback, that's what we're here for. And again, I want to give a congratulations and thank you to Sharice Nolson, one of my diamonds and a diamond coach in this team, who led and ran that group for us. It was awesome, but I'm looking for you guys to give the feedback. So please, please do that. Last announcement for recognition, the Shakeology Shaker Cups. We had a huge month. Not only this January, for January, we had a record number of coaches that hit Success Club on our team. Guys, you are killing it. And if you look at the cover photo of our team page, all your names are there. They're getting like smaller and smaller. You know, we're going to be at like 2 fonts soon. You're going to need to like magnify it to see your names. But those that hit in December, Kristen and I promised you guys that we would send everybody a Shakeology Shaker Cup. Most of you have seen that Kristen put a picture up, but we put them in the mail this weekend. The post office loved us when we came in with like a garbage bag full of shaker cups in the paper, but you should get them any day. I think some of you guys got them. So guys, enjoy it. Thank you. You guys are absolutely rocking it in December, and January was a huge month. And based on what I'm seeing, February is probably going to be bigger. So awesome work on there. So with that, guys, I'm going to go right into recognition. This is everybody that has had 200 volume points or more the past week. So I'm going to go right into the 200 club and 300 club. So let me just pull up my sheet here for everybody in the 200 and 300 club. So bear with me. All right, guys, with 200 volume points or more, and guys, again, I always apologize. If I mess your name up, I'm sorry. Feel free to message me if I pronounce it wrong. But Sharice Nolson at 270, 270 team volume points. Emily Huck at 285. Beth Deegan at 214. Susan Stein at 215 in the 200 club. Moving on. My wife, Kristen Atkins, at 215. Jennifer Holman, 245. Lisa Marr at 295. Darlene Shamp at 214. Rosa Dolan at 270. Tara McGinty at 215. Christy Malazzi at 270. Moving at Erin Darmody at 295. Christine Lip at 243. Moving on, Jessica Lacalzi at 293, Michelle Attard at 215. So, guys, that's everybody in the 200 club. In the 300 club, we have Gina Strecko at 340. Way to go, Gina. We have Shannon Reese at 360, another coach that's killing it. Way to go, Shannon. Moving on in 300, we have Suzanne Henson at 330. My Second Business Center at 310. Moving on, guys. Just bear with me. It's just an unbelievable amount of names. I'm really happy for you all. That's it in the 300 club. So going into 400. 400. I know I saw 400s. I know we have above that. 400. Amy Franchi at 425. Way to go, Amy. G. Marie Cregan at 405. Way to go, G. Marie. At 405, and I think that may be it for 400. Let's see here. Yes, so in 500, in the 500 volume club, we have Danielle Zito at 593. Way to go, Danielle. 500. Shanna Carlucci, 550. Guys, something, and actually, I heard it from Tommy. I always say to you guys, success leaves clues. And as we get higher, it seems to be the same name. So make sure you are following these leaders on our team as we get in the higher volume points and see what they're doing, right? 500, I think that's it for the 500 club. In the 600 club, bear with me, 600. Guys, again, I'm just going off what I'm seeing in my back office in the 600 club. I thought I saw somebody in the 600. All right, nobody in 600. I think the next number is jumping, and just going to make sure, into the 800 club, and then the winner, which is just going to blow you guys away. All right, so in the 800 club, we have, way to go, Kristen Smalls at 836, who I think has 20 Success Club points already for the month. You are on fire, Kristen. And I think she's in one of the leaders. She was recognized on the East Coast Leaders page. And she's on Carl's list, I think, also for Success Club this month. So amazing work, Kristen. Congratulations. But, guys, I have to say, the leader this week, and this is just so fitting, the leading this week, and I want to get the exact number here. Let me just get it. Where is it? The leader this week at 1,060 volume points is none other than Kelly Della Vecchia. Guys, this girl, this is a girl that 2 weeks ago was found and been diagnosed with cancer, been a whirlwind of emotions, but is still here out there making no excuses and has led the team this week. Kelly, if you're on this call, holy crap, girl. I mean, 1,060, you led the team this week with everything going on. Guys, what an amazing leader in Kelly. And Kelly, congratulations for getting 1,060 on our team. I mean, that just blows me away. When I look and saw that tonight, and I knew tonight I wanted to start the call that way, that just says a lot, guys, about her and what our team is about with perseverance. So congratulations. So, guys, without further ado, I want to open up let me just, so I can see where, hold on, guys. Just want to see so I can find where Tommy is on the screen. There he is. So, guys, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you guys Tommy Mygrant. And the list is long. I mean, Tommy's been an Elite 10 coach. He's in the Millionaires Club. He's a 10-star diamond. He's a Beachbody Challenge winner. The 5-step invitation process has basically been Tommy's thing. that he created for all of us. He's won the CEO award by Carl Diker at Summit, and I was there and saw Tommy get that. But guys, the way I connected with Tommy, and the quick story is that 2 years ago at Summit, actually 2013 Summit, I went to Summit and I ended up going to Tommy's pre-event Summit event. And I got to hear him and some of the other top leaders talk. And I just felt like, I didn't know Tommy. I met him in passing at MGM. But just his energy, his positivity, I just felt a connection. Like that feels like me. Like there's certain people that you gravitate towards. And I always watch Tommy, and that time it gravitated towards me. And I remember going back to the hotel room that night. I was rooming with another Diamond coach, Crossline, Brian Tass. And I said, hey, Brian, you think if I messaged Tommy and said, hey, you can give me like 2 minutes, he would give me 2 minutes? And I sat there, and I'll never forget this, for like 15 minutes. We went back and forth talking about you, Tommy. We went back and forth. Finally, I'm like, screw it. So I sent Tommy a message and said, would you be able to give me some time and talk to me? And now fast forward, he said, absolutely, after Summit. And I remember talking to him in the police car. I'm in uniform. And Tommy actually said, basically, guys, and this was the changing point of our team, because we were at 54 coaches at that point in August. Tommy said to me, it's time to take ownership, because you guys have heard me say I was a Diamond for 2 years. I've hit Success Club 2 years straight, and I wasn't going anywhere. And the team is only 50-something coaches. And I didn't know. And I used to send all you guys that were coaches then to our upline calls, and I used to just say, what's going on? Tommy said, you know what? You got to get out of the bird's nest. It's time to take ownership and go for it. And you know what? Those words hit home. And guys, we are now here today because I took ownership, because Tommy literally told me to take ownership. And he's always been there for me. Last week, I'm messaging him with questions about my organization. He gave me a call a couple months ago about where to go. And with that, guys, he is basically somebody I looked up to from afar, I gravitate towards, and somebody I consider my mentor, and thank each and every day of where this team is because of Tommy. So, Tommy, welcome, and thank you so much for coming on our call, brother.
Well, I'll tell you, man, I'm thinking like, dude, when we had that talk a year and a half ago at Summit, it was literally 5 minutes in the hallway at Summit. And he told me he had 50 coaches. I mean, we've got more than that on the meeting tonight, right?
Yeah.
So that just tells me how much, your team has grown. And as I'm looking around at some of the faces, man, I mean, it looks like you have an awesome team of real friggin' people who are in this for the right reasons, who are truly bought in, which makes me excited. So, I just want to introduce myself to some of you guys. First of all, I do want to say, Kelly, your story is incredible. You got a team of people that have your back on this thing, and we're all pulling for you to succeed. We know that you can beat this, and we know that you're going to, and that's just going to be how it is. So I did want to say that, but it can get a little bit intimidating when you hear like, okay, here's some guy who, on your call, who's won all these awards and made $1 million friggin' dollars and all that stuff, as a Beachbody coach. I know some of you are going, $1 million? Like, how the heck do you do that as a Beachbody coach? And trust me, I was saying the same thing 7 years ago when I signed up, just a little bit of background on me. I come from a very small hometown, Bellevue, Ohio. It's 9,000 people. Was born and raised in that hometown. I coached high school football in that town. I did insurance in that town for 10 years. I was like the president of Rotary Club. And about 8 years ago, I had spent about 20 years of my life being obese, morbidly obese. So I came from the side of obesity. At age 12, I started developing eating habits out of some family dysfunction. I guess you could say at best I had a dysfunctional family, and my parents were split. My father was an alcoholic. My stepfather was physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive with us. And he ended up leaving my mom and I when I was 11, and my mom and I ended up homeless for a few months, and she had to give me away to go live with my grandparents. And out of all that, I was angry, and I took that anger out in two ways, on the football field and with how I ate. And I developed some very bad eating habits, emotional eating, binge eating. And I would eat until I was in as much physical pain as I was emotional pain, until my physical pain matched my emotional pain. And so for 20 years, I carried that with me. And 8 years ago, I picked up a set of P90X, and I lost over 100 pounds. But I was the guy that, when I picked up P90X, I didn't want everything else. I wasn't like, give me the shakes and give me the recovery drink and give me the protein bars. Like, I didn't want anything to do with that. I just wanted to push play, work out. Luckily, I looked at the nutrition guide and I started learning a little bit about food through the materials that came with P90X, and that helped me in my eating habits. Well, after about 4 months, I had lost 50 pounds, and I finally, because the videos, in those videos, right, they're always telling you, there's those little commercials before and after, right? And they're always telling you, go check out the website. You can get a coach and all of this stuff. So I finally did that. I finally went to the website. I signed up for an account, and I was a free customer for my coach at the time. Man, this is back, at the end of 2007. So I've been around for quite a while, right? And I was given to my coach. And all I wanted to do at that time was lose weight. And about 4 or 5 months in, I finally bought the recovery drink. But I was a skeptic, man. Even when they came out with Shakeology, they came out after my weight loss with Shakeology. I didn't want to buy Shakeology. I looked at the price tag and I was like, $120. Like, you're kidding, screw that. I'll keep buying my whey protein at Walmart for $19.99 or whatever it was. All along the way, I was the guy that kind of slowly developed the belief in the value of what we have to offer. When I became a coach, my coach had to ask me 4 or 5 times. Like I said, I was president of Rotary Club. I was running an insurance agency. I had a very active social life, running around playing poker with my buddies, doing things like that, and coaching high school football. And so the last thing I wanted to do was add something else onto my plate, right? In fact, but I was the guy that I was so social that I was always broke. I was making around 60 grand a year doing insurance. How many of you can relate to this, right? I was making like 50, 60 grand a year doing insurance. And in Bellevue, Ohio, that was a lot of money. I know where David lives, the cost of living is a lot more expensive in the city than it is in Bellevue, Ohio. But 60 grand a year among my friends was a reasonable amount of money that led me to live very comfortably. But I was always broke. My credit cards were always maxed out. I was terrible. I was freaking terrible with money. I really was. When I was 25, I was driving a Cadillac CTS and my credit cards were maxed out. It's just stupid. My priorities were way out of whack. So I didn't want to do the coaching thing. But I figured, I'd already been losing weight. People were asking me about it. And at worst, I could either, get my buddies a discounted rate on P90X. That was my first thought, right? Like, I'll just give it to them for my discount. I'm not even trying to make money with this thing, which is nuts because I didn't get into this to make money. And here I am 7 years later, having earned, the last 3 years, we've made over $300,000 as coaches, which is nuts. And it was about 2 years in. It's so crazy because David traveled that same path. About 2 years in, I kind of had dabbled with it. We didn't have challenge groups. We didn't have Shakeology. We didn't have Success Club, right? We didn't have, this is back at the beginning of this network. We didn't have the 5-step process. We didn't have scripts. We didn't have Facebook. Imagine that. We were trying to build something without Facebook. I can't believe that ever worked. But what we did have was we had a belief in the company. And we had a belief that what we have to offer people truly makes a difference in lives, and that it's valuable enough that people at least deserve to hear about it and make their own choice whether they want it or not, right? Luckily for me, my buddy, who isn't even a coach, the one that introduced me to P90X is not even a coach, but luckily he had invited me to do a P90X workout with him. And I think about the millions of lives that have changed. I went on to be a $50,000 winner in the Beachbody Challenge. Which was incredible. So, I could finally see my feet. That was like the biggest win, was that, I didn't have to go buy the little stretchy pants, that like, I know some of you guys, you got to get the stretchy pants, right? With the little extra inch flex on the side. That was me my entire life. And so it's just been drastically life-changing for me. I met my wife through Beachbody. We have a little girl now. She's 21 months old, and we're talking about having our second little Beachbody baby. In fact, when we found out we were going to have a daughter, I said to Carl Deichler, I actually joked with Carl. I said, hey, if we find out it's going to be a boy, I might name him Deichler. He goes, oh, don't do that because everybody's going to call him Dyke, and it's just going to be uncomfortable for him for his entire life. That's what Carl said to me, right? And he said, if it's a little girl, you can name her Carla. So honestly, we debated whether or not to name our daughter Carla, and we landed on Adeline. But that's how much I believe in this company. And in Carl Deichler and the integrity of this company. I've been grateful to be able to travel, being a member of the top 10 2 times. I got to go to France. I got to go to Tahiti. And I was the guy that never got on an airplane before this thing, right? How many of you never go anywhere? Literally, for me, a trip was like if I drove to Columbus, Ohio and went to a Buckeyes game. That was the event of a lifetime for me. And here we are, I can't begin just through the Success Club trips, that we're going on these cruises into Cancun and the friends that we've been able to make around the country, not just the income. So, but it was 2 years in that I finally made a decision to go for it, to take ownership. And that's kind of, you know, for 2 years, I kind of dabbled with it. I was doing, you know, like I would help a few people here and there. I wasn't focused on consistently doing it, and I wasn't focused on doing it at a great level. And so hopefully some of my story that I share with you guys, you can identify with it, or you can take some inspiration from that, because I got to tell you, if a high school football coach like me can do something in this, and literally, what's mind-blowing to me is the fact that exponentially through the team of 4,000 coaches that we have and through the influence I've had on the network, literally millions of lives have been touched by a guy who is a high school football coach. I don't know if you know anything about high school football coaches, but we make about 27 cents an hour. We definitely do not do it for the money, right? We do it because we have a passion for mentoring kids. We have a passion for competition, right? All of those things, you know, we have a passion for camaraderie with other men, like a group of guys that we can stay in a fight with and fight with. And to me, it's like the same with Beachbody, right? I think that when people get into this for the money, and the money doesn't immediately show up, because this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, right? First and foremost, we have to understand that that your paycheck as a Beachbody coach is going to be in direct proportion to the number of lives that you have influenced in a positive direction, right? Whether you or exponentially through a team of people that you create. And so when the paycheck doesn't just show up and you don't have a deeper emotional reason why you want to do this in the service of others, that's the first thing that we have to understand, is that I'm a service first kind of guy, right? Does that make sense? That we are on a mission as a company. And I think that the members of this team, and me knowing David, and I know that who David is attracts the kind of people that are here. And I know that he has a heart for serving other people. That's why he chose to be a law enforcement officer. Does that make sense, right? That as long as we adhere to the mission of the company, and the mission is this, the mission of the company is to help people achieve their goals and live a healthy, fulfilling life. And I believe this firmly and foremost, that it doesn't matter how good you are with social media yet. It doesn't matter how good you are with people skills. It doesn't matter if you say the wrong thing, that as long as your sincere intention is to sincerely help others, you can't go wrong, because you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand that? So man, I don't even know where all this is coming from. Like literally, it's vomiting out of my mouth right now. So bear with me. I do get fired up a little bit. I am a high school football coach, and I am half Italian. And so those two things are kind of like a time bomb waiting to go off. So as we go through the rest of this call tonight, what I want to do is I wrote down some notes. And listen, there's 10,000 things that we could talk about tonight, right? You know, but David just asked me to share maybe some of my top tips with you guys. And so I just wrote down like 6, 7 things. I could list 60 things if I wanted to. I don't know what we're going to say tonight in those 6 or 7 things that you feel applies to you. I can promise you this, that you're not going to get all of it in one call. You're going to get a couple of things. So some of this is going to be over your head. Some of it's going to go under your feet. Some of it's going to come right at you like a fastball. The things that are coming right at you like a fastball, take those and run with it. Does that make sense? You can't catch something that isn't coming at you. Some of it's going to be uncatchable to you, all right? Don't worry about that stuff. Take what is hitting you and run with it from there. So these are my top tips to anybody that's coming in. And I know this is kind of a relatively young organization within the bigger network, right? I know that David just a year and a half ago really started doing this. And that's why I'm literally so impressed that there's 60 people on this call. And I don't take for granted the opportunity to speak to you tonight, because I know this, that if there's one thing that I can give you that makes a difference and helps you go help somebody else, my time is well spent. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm doing this. It's not even as I love Dave, but it's not even as a favor to him. It's because of this. I know that you know people that I don't, and those people deserve a chance to say yes. They deserve a chance to have the kind of incredible life change that I've had. And so if I could spend 45 minutes with you, and out of that someone's life changes in a drastic way, I don't even need the credit for that. I just need to know that I spent my time wisely. So here's my tips for you. Number 1 is this: decide what this is to you. Decide what this is to you. See, all of you said yes for a reason. And I can tell you that this has been different things to me at different moments of my coaching career, right? At first, it was the thing I was nervous about. I didn't even want to be a coach. I wasn't even sure that the $100 sign up would go through my credit card. I didn't want another thing to suck up my time. You know, I didn't want it to interrupt my watching of Criminal Minds at night on Netflix, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, how am I going to not watch Criminal Minds? I got to get that in. You see what I'm saying? But my belief is this, that there really are 6 types of people that it takes to build this business, that as you're out there sharing with people, and that you fit one of those categories currently. And maybe you fit multiple of them along the way. And you can always upgrade yourself. So I'm going to just break down what I think the 6 types of people are that it's going to take for us to do something with this, right? The first type of person that you can be or that you can encounter as you're out there sharing is the no, not right now. See, I always say this, nobody is a no forever. They're a no, not right now, and that's perfectly okay. I was a no, not right now for 20 years. For 20 years, I sat on the couch, fat, miserable, depressed, knowing that I needed to do something, and the only thing I did was get my ass in the car and drive through Taco Bell, right? It took me 20 years of thinking about losing weight to actually then trust a program enough to complete it and lose some weight and get moving in the right direction. So I never give up hope that people will eventually say yes. I want you to write this down. The average person can't say no more than 7 times. You're going to find, I expect people to say no the first time. I expect them not to say yes. I've had people that it's taken 6 months, 6 years before they finally said, yes, I want to try something. Yes, I want to do something. My coach had to ask me to become a coach 4 different times before I finally said yes. So understand something. When you're out there and you're getting no's from people, who cares? The fact is this, you planted the seed with them. And they can always grow into more from there. So you're going to need some people who are no, not right now, because those no's are your future customers. They're your future coaches. Does that make sense? Right? I said no to Recovery Drink and no to Shakeology for the first 6 months that they were out. Right? And now all of a sudden, I mean, I went months without spending a single dollar on a Beachbody supplement, a Beachbody shake. Does that make sense? Months. Now, all of a sudden, we get 3 orders of Shakeology a month, an order of Recovery Drink a month. You know, I get like 2 or 3 orders of E&E every month, and I'm like addicted to E&E. How many of you are like E&E crack addicts? There should be some hands up. If you haven't tried E&E, yeah, like I drink that instead of coffee in the morning. Not a good idea. I'm not saying that you should, right? Does that make sense? But understand something, that a lot of times we want someone to be everything the first time. But people have to grow in their own time. People have to get to the point where they're willing to say yes on their own for their own reasons. We can't force them into the yes box. So that's the first type of person. The second type of person is a customer first. And our entire system is really built and designed to allow people the opportunity to be customers first, right? If you're following that challenge group system, it really is pretty simple. Okay, I started out as a customer first, right? I got the program. Eventually, then I upgraded to being like an active customer where I was actively engaged in the community, right? And then I decided to become a coach. And then the path went from there. Does that make sense? So the second one is customer first. We really do, our system, you know, there's a lot of network marketing companies out there where they're trying to hammer you into being a distributor right off the bat. That's like their sole mission in your life is to make you go out and distribute products so they can make more money. Does that make sense? What makes us so uniquely incredible in the world of network marketing is that's not how we friggin' operate. That we are the complete opposite of that, right? That we follow something called expose, involve, and upgrade. And that's our challenge group system, where we expose people to the product, we let them use the products, fall in love with the products, fall in love with the community of people that we are as coaches, fall in love with the support system, fall in love with Shakeology, fall in love with the trainers, right? And then when the time is right, then we focus on upgrading those people. So we expose them to it. They say yes, we involve them in it, and then we upgrade them to becoming coaches at the appropriate time. Does that make sense? And now we have willing distributors, what I call advocates, right? We're creating advocates when we follow that system. So, and you guys have an incredible, you know, leadership organization that has given you plenty of opportunity to plug your people into an already existing group where they can get that support. Does that make sense? I mean, the fact that I got to tell you, I've spoken literally on hundreds of team calls. And I was taking notes at the beginning. because I'm like, how does David get this thing going so well? Well, you know why? Because he provides you guys with simple and easy opportunities where it takes the fear out of inviting people, because you don't have to do it alone. You're doing it as a team on the same date. So everybody's going out and inviting at the same time and following up at the same time, trying to get their 2, 3, 4 people, right? This isn't about one person doing everything. It's about a lot of people doing a little. And if you can all just chip in, then we can really explode the mission. So the second type of person is a customer first. Falls great with our system. Number 3 is what I call a discount coach, right? A discount coach. That's a coach that, they become a coach, but they don't really look at this as they're not really actively seeking to help anybody at any level. They love being around the community. They love getting their shakes at a discount, but they're not actively looking to do something. They're not focused on Success Club. They're not going to get on a call. They're not going to, you guys understand what I'm saying? It's a discount coach. There's a lot of people that will go out and they'll build to like a diamond rank, and basically they turn all their customers into coaches and say they're coaches, but they're really not coaches. They're discount coaches. They're what I call wholesale buyers. Does that make sense? Okay. My personal belief, and this is an arbitrary thing, is you're better off to let them be a customer first until they actively and willingly can see themselves doing what coaches do and actively showing other people what it is that we do and looking to help other people. Which leads me to number 4. Number 4 is a seasonal coach, right? It's a seasonal coach. It's someone that, and listen, I'm 7 years into this thing. I've seen this a lot, okay? I've seen a lot of people, and there's some people on this call that maybe you're new, maybe you're doing very well, or maybe you can identify because for the last year you've been up and down with it, okay? But a seasonal coach will come in, they'll do great for 2 or 3 months, right? They'll do great for 2 or 3 months. They'll start earning more money. They'll start hitting Success Club 5, 10, 15, whatever, right? Maybe they rank advance, they get to that, ruby, diamond rank, and then they kind of disappear. Life starts happening. They start getting busy, right? How many of you know that emergencies happen in life and it's easy to get your focus taken off of what you're doing with Beachbody, because right now Beachbody isn't the top priority, right? It's part of who you are, but it's not the top thing. And so when something happens in the family, something happens at work, something happens with, you start not doing your own workouts and you start feeling fat, and then you start feeling like a fraud, and so you quit sharing, okay? Does that make sense? That's why being a product of the product is so important, because you're more likely to share when you're feeling good and on top of your game yourself. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. You don't have to be 7% body fat. I'm not my after picture anymore, but I'm still in the fight. I'm still pushing play. I'm still, counting friggin' colored containers and doing all that crap, which is, hey, I do. And I might not be perfect. I might do it for 4 days in a row and then I screw it up for 3 days and I'm like, crap, I got to get back to the containers, But the fact is I'm still in the fight. And so I could still tell people that, what, it's a good thing. And if it weren't for being involved in the community, I'd probably go all the way backwards, right? But seasonal coaches, they come and they go, and they come and they go, and they come and they go. They work for 3 months, they disappear for 3 months. They work for 3 months, they disappear for 3 months. They make Success Club for 3 or 4 months, and then they miss for 2 or 3 months. And what happens is they start seeing success, and they start seeing a little success, right? And they start making a couple $100 a week or something like that, and then they disappear because they're comfortable with a couple $100 a week. It becomes a comfortable level of extra money for them in their pocket, and they forget the fact that the reason they committed isn't just because of the money. It's because other people deserve this and because they believe in it, and they forgot that they made that commitment, and so they disappear. Okay, but they never gain traction. The fact is they're good enough to gain traction if they just stay course and they stay consistent and they do it month after month over the course of time. To me, it takes 2 to 3 years to build really something of significance. And I know for some of you, it's hard to see that far in the future. You can't see past 2 or 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I guess, and we'll get to this point in the future, but just don't disappear on this thing. Like minimally, I think you got to have some minimal non-negotiables that you're willing to adhere to month after month, regardless of how tough life gets and regardless, does that make sense? Minimum non-negotiables. These are my non-negotiables. I will be on team calls. I will make Success Club 5. I will enroll at least 1 coach this month. Now, you can set the numbers wherever you want. Like these coaches that are hitting elite and doing that stuff, right? Their minimums are typically, I'm going to score at least 15 points a month. I'm going to enroll at least 5 coaches a month. And they do that every month. And that's their minimum non-negotiable. Everybody understand that. You've got to make a choice to what it is to you and what your non-negotiables are going to be. For me, I don't count points. That doesn't motivate me. Okay, what motivates me is the number of lives that I've influenced. Does that make sense? And so I have my number of lives chart. I actually have a whiteboard, right? And I have it broken down into 12 months. And I try to, anytime I've helped somebody take a step, right? I put their name on that board. Whether it's they just bought a program, whether it's they got a challenge pack, whether it's they became a coach, whatever that is. Does that make sense? But if I help somebody, I put it down. So I'm not counting points. My belief is this: if I'm helping enough people, the points will be there. Everybody understand that? Okay. So that's the number 3, the seasonal. They never get traction. And I've seen so many coaches who want to do something with this, and they get caught in this come and go sort of flow, and they go up and they go down. They go up and they go down. They go. It's like a roller coaster, but they never get traction because they never have the gas, the gas pedal down long enough to ever get momentum. Everybody understand that? Number. What are we on? That was number 4. So number 5 is consistent part-time. So a consistent part-time coach. So right now, David fits this role, right? David has been some of these things along the way, right? Right? I mean, as I'm describing this, he's like, I remember being a customer first. I remember being, I thought I was being a coach, but I was kind of the seasonal coach. Yeah, I kind of made successful, but I wasn't really doing it, you know? Consistent part-time are the people that have the minimum non-negotiables. They have those things. And they adhere to that month after month. Whether that, and minimally, like the minimum is like Success Club 5, right? 3 people a month, helping 3 people a month get started on something. Everybody understand that? So, and then the last one, the number 6 is the professionals, the part-time, the professional full-time people. I'm a 6. Now listen, I started as a no, not right now for 20 years. Right? For 20 years, I was a fat guy. I didn't want to say yes to anything other than, the half gallon of Oreo ice cream that I was eating every night. Right? So I said, I didn't say yes. Then I became a customer first. I didn't want anything to do with coaching. Then I kind of became a coach, and I was kind of this part-time deal. Then I became consistent, and then I became a full-time coach, earning more money than I could ever imagine, and so what you have to decide is this, and I want to be very clear about this. It's okay wherever you're at, as long as that's actually where you would like to be. Does that make sense? That you are in control of your own business. Nobody else controls that. I can't tell you what category you should fit. But don't sit there and lie to yourself and say that you're a 5 when you're actually a 3. Does that make sense? But I got on the call. I got that. Who did you talk to this week? Did you promote this week? Did you actually offer somebody? Did you look for somebody? Did you follow up with somebody? Because the only difference between a discount coach and a consistent part-timer is what they do when they're not on the call. It's what they do when they're out there in the free world. It's you see what I'm saying? It's the action taken after the fact. It's the action taken because our job isn't to just hang out with a bunch of Beachbody enthusiasts. Our job is to go out there and deal with these other people in the world that deserve an opportunity and give them a chance to say yes and not care if they say yes. Listen, I don't care if they say yes or no. My job isn't to convince them, right? My job isn't to convince them. My job is simply to not go to bed at night knowing that someone might have said yes, but because of my fear and because of my ego and because of my lack of confidence, that I didn't at least give them the opportunity. It's not, my job is to make sure that I don't leave someone else's destiny locked in my mouth. You guys understand that? How many of you agree there's people out there that would benefit from, let's say, using some little colored containers, drinking a shake and hanging out with a bunch of positive, amazing, driven people that are kicking ass, right? How many of you agree there's people out there, not on this call, that need to be on a call like this to get their weekly motivation, to get their, because the world is rough out there, right? Does that make sense? How many of those people have you not at least given the opportunity to say yes? See, our job isn't to convince, it's to give them opportunity and give them the free will to choose yes or no. And to understand that even if they're a no, it's only a no, not right now. It's not a no forever. That we planted the seed. We're not here to be good harvesters. We're here to be good planters, to plant the seed with people and then to be here down the road, to still stay engaged down the road so that when those people do decide to say yes, that they come back to who? They come back to you, the planter. Everybody understand that? So, man, that was just point 1. Can you all handle that? Oh, David, I'm sweating. I'm sitting here, I'm sweating. It's like football season in my living room. All right. My number 2 top tip, and I'll try to go through these ones quicker, is this: trust the system. Listen, the system was designed, by a bunch of people that, when we started out, we didn't have crap. We didn't have challenge groups. We didn't have challenge packs. We didn't have Shakeology. We didn't have any of that. We had to figure it out. So there's a lot of people like me and some of these other leaders that have been around for a while that aren't in the new era of leadership that went through a lot of trial and error to come up with something that works and that you can do and that you can teach your people how to do. Does that make sense? So I want you to write this down. Don't do what works, do what duplicates. It's only good if you can teach someone else how to do the same thing. Everybody understand that? That's why, to me, the challenge group system works. That we start people out as challengers, but see, here's the thing. Now, I want you to understand there's 2 ways that we get paid, right? There's 2 simple ways that we get paid. The first way is to retail. That's what we do when we go out and we try to get challengers first, and we get people into programs and into challenge packs that we earn that retail commission, right? And that's great. And for the first year or so, 2 years, that might be the majority of your income that you generate as a coach, and that's perfectly fine. But the second way that we get paid is team building. It's team building, right? And that first rank of Emerald there's a huge incentive to get there because you get free customers. Now, listen, I was a free customer for my coach. My team now generates enough volume that my coach makes $10,000 a week based on my team. I was a free customer. Do you think it's worth being Emerald? Do you think it's worth being in Success Club to earn those free customers? I'm not saying it's, and maybe that's a lottery mentality, but my thinking is this. That it's easier to turn someone into a Beachbody advocate when they've already said yes to something Beachbody, and when they give us those customers, those people are already in the door. We don't have to be in the street trying to herd them in the door. Does that make sense? We're not trying to sell scalp tickets to them. They already want to come to the game. They've already said yes to something. So it's easier to then eventually convert them and do the second part of that challenge group system, which is to upgrade people to coaches, what I call advocates. When they show you signs of enthusiasm. See, people they'll give you these signs of what I call signs of enthusiasm, what I call green light moments, right? Where they're talking to you about it more. You see them posting on their Facebook more, right? They say something to you like, oh my gosh, my Uncle Johnny asked me about this, and so did my cousin Susie, and this and that. And all of a sudden they'll start telling you, people are asking them about it. That's when it's really easy to do the second part of the system, which is upgrade them to coach, help them learn to become an advocate and show them how they can get paid for helping those people. Everybody understand it? So that's the challenge group system. Customer first, upgrade to coach. How many of you can master doing that? It's not hard, right? That's not hard. But somewhere along the way, we go into this brain fart and we forget about the fact that there's time in between them becoming a customer and then becoming a coach, right? And in that time, what's important is, 1, that you're their friend, and 2, you help them stay accountable. Accountability is the difference, right? So you providing an accountability structure during that time frame will help them along that journey to becoming a coach. See, every time I start a challenger out, I don't look at them as just, I don't care about the 2 points and I don't care about the $50 I got for the pack. I could care less. What I care is that they get results with the program so that eventually I can turn them into a coach. To me, they're a coach in training, what I call a CIT. They're a coach in friggin' training. And my job during that first month or 2 is to help them master the first vital behavior of being a product of the product and do what coaches do. What do we do as coaches? We push play. We drink a friggin' shake. We follow the meal plan, and we engage with the team, right? We engage with the community. So I want to groom them on doing those things, creating those daily habits. Drink your shake once a day, push play once a day, right? Stay engaged with me, stay engaged with the team. Help you get through that first month, get you some results. Once you start getting results, when I think the time is right, I'll put coaching in front of you and say, hey, man, you're doing great. Have you ever thought about being a coach? I'm always looking for good people. I think you'd be great. That's my script. Bam, it comes out every single time. Okay? One thing that I suggest doing is this. I know that you have an existing page. Don't feed your people into the page and forget them. I always say this. Don't feed them and forget them. Don't think – it's not the page's job to babysit your people. The page isn't amazingly and automatically going to upgrade your people to coaches. You still have some work to do. And my suggestion is that you do a once-a-week check-in with your people. Just a once-a-week little text message, a once-a-week Facebook message. A once-a-week, hey, man, how's it going? You still pushing play? Blah, 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 right? Have a little conversation with your people. It goes a long way, all right? Number 3 is this, and I'm still sweating. Find your niche. Find your mission, right? Here's the thing, man. You know, my belief is this, that we are all called to serve a specific type of person that we can relate to for various reasons, right? And that the people you relate to might not be the same as the people I relate to. And guess what? That's a beautiful thing, and it's okay. You don't have to go serve the same community of people that I serve. You don't have to go. The only type of specific person you should be looking for are the ones that you can relate to because you speak their language. And so when you look at coaches who have done great things, they've typically focused on their niche, right? They went and found people like them that they could relate to. For me, it was obesity and food addiction because I understand that. I understand food addiction. I understand obesity. I know what that's like emotionally and physically and mentally, right? And socially, I know the loopholes of that, and I know what Beachbody offers to those people that they might not get elsewhere, and why they might want to say yes to Beachbody. Okay, so it makes no sense for me to go out there, let's say, and try to recruit a bunch of 25-year-old former cheerleaders. Doesn't make any damn sense. Do I look like a 25-year-old former friggin' cheerleader? No, I don't. If I go try to do that, my wife is probably going to divorce me because she's going to think something's up. Right? And I ain't trying to create waves at home, okay? You guys understand what I'm saying? So I went and I focused on obesity, and I also focused on local people. I had strong ties to my local community. And so for me, I was on a mission, and I told myself this, that I'm not going to stop until I have 300 coaches in North Central Ohio. I had a goal. I had a mission that I was on to get at least 300 coaches. Here we are now. 5 years later, we have more than 2,000 coaches within an hour radius of my little hometown. Pretty incredible, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So when I think of coaches like Tara Carr, her husband was in the military. She was a military spouse. She was also a mom. She went out there and built a 15-star organization helping military spouses and moms. That's all she did. Like, you look at her team, and there isn't a single former fat guy in the room. There's not. She wasn't trying to help the same people I was trying to help. Does that make sense? What I want to encourage you to do is this: really narrow down your focus as to who you want to help, who you feel called to help, and the reasons why you want to help them. Who do you believe this opportunity on the fitness or the business side can influence in a positive way? What communities do you speak your language, the same language? Is it a church? I mean, listen, Brigitte Linford just today shared with the top leadership. She's like, I'm Mormon, and like 75% of my team happens to be Mormons. Well, she's not stupid, right? You see what I'm saying? She's not stupid. She knows that community of people. What communities of people do you know and that you can have influence with? You guys understand that, right? What communities of people do you want to serve? And then what is the value that you can offer those people? But find your niche and then own it unapologetically. I'll give you another example. Tulin Emery, right? The girl's, she started out like 320 pounds. She's like 265 right now. It's taken her like a year and a half to lose that 65 pounds, but she's unapologetic about it. She's working on it. And if you go follow her Instagram, it's all about plus size fitness, right? I mean, she's a big girl, and she's out there helping other big girls. And guess how many Success Club points she had last month? 86. And she's 270 pounds, right? Yet there's some of us that think because we don't fit the image of what these top coaches currently are that we can't go out there and help some people. The problem is this: you're trying to help them, and you don't speak their language. You aren't them. Does that make sense? Like David Atkins, I'm sorry, but you are not Lindsay Matway. You aren't today, you ain't going to be tomorrow. Does that make sense? Right? Neither am I. So until we embrace who we truly are and go out there and look for people like us to help them and get them on board with doing what we're doing, to me, finding your mission, finding your niche, and being unapologetic about it and going out and owning that. Okay, another example, Meg was I can't say her last name. Her name was Meg Wazinski. She got married. I forget her new last name. But Meg has thyroid issues. So she's really went out there and marketed this to people with thyroid issues. If you go follow her Instagram, all of her write-ups are about, overcoming dealing with thyroid issues, and then how Beachbody's helped her do that. Does that make sense? So she's really marketed that. Okay? So find your niche and own it, all right? Number 4, and I'm going to blast through these last few because I know we've been on here for an hour. Number 4 is this. Focus on the approach and follow-up. Now, what I do, and it's the same kind of thing that David has you guys doing, is this. I build one challenge group a month. And so for a week, I go out and I promote that group. I talk about that group. I go and look for people for that group. So for 1 week a month, I'm out there gathering a list of prospects, right? I'm building a list of prospects. And then I follow up with that list and I try to get them enrolled before the group. Does that make sense? And I figure if I can go get, 10, 15 names on a list and I get 4 or 5 of them to actually get to the point of enrollment, I've done a great job. Does that make sense? All right. And then I work with those people, right? And then I look to upgrade them to coaches. The only other people that I think will come in right as coaches, because some of you are like, well, I don't want to wait till they become a coach, right? Some people that make great coaches right off the bat are people who maybe have previous experience in home business. They've done something like that before and they see the opportunity in that. People who are already passionate and enthusiastic about fitness and they're just not getting paid to advocate health and fitness lifestyles. Does that make sense? Like they're out there doing it. They're already talking about it, but they're not actually they're not getting paid for their advocating. That's the only difference with Beachbody is they pay us to advocate, right? CrossFit creates a bunch of CrossFit fanatics and doesn't pay them a dime, but yet there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with CrossFit, but I sit there and think, well, man, if I'm a partner with somebody, I'm a partner with the guy that's going to give me a cut, right? That just makes sense. I got to put food on the table too. If I'm going to wave the banner of something, it's going to be 1, a company I believe in, and 2, a company that's paying me to do it. Okay. So, focus on man, I don't even know what I'm saying. So, was I on invest in your skills? I get so off track.
Tommy, you want to focus on approach and follow up.
Oh, focusing on approaching and following up, right? Promoting and following up. So one of our vital behaviors is invite, invite, invite. One of the best things that I ever learned was that the fortune is in the follow-up. I wish that it said follow up, follow up, follow up. Because I guarantee that you've had conversations with people and where the ball was dropped was in the follow-up. And you might have to follow up with people several times. It might be several months. They might say, no, not this month. See, here's the thing. Someone that said no this month, they're kind of on the fence, but they don't actually follow through. Well, they're the first on my list of prospects for the next month. Does that make sense, right? Are you following up with the customer leads the company gives you? There's opportunity everywhere for you to be following up, but I would focus on following up with those people, okay? A lot of people don't put it out there because they don't know how. What's amazing is you got a guy like Dave and a leadership team like this that says, just copy and paste what we've written. They've taken the guesswork out for you. And listen, they're not dumb, okay? What's amazing is when I came up with the 5-step invitation process, the whole idea was copy, paste, and personalize, right? And what's amazing is now I get on a call with Dave, who's not even on my team, and he's saying, just copy this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what we did, 4 years ago when we gave that to the network. This is awesome to see people using that. But use it. That approach is there because a lot of times it's just the initial approach that gets you in the door with the conversation. And if you don't know how to approach it, reach out to your leaders. Use the script that they put together. It's there. They're using it and they're having success with that. Does that make sense? But understand that you can't send it to the same 3 people every month and expect, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be more than, you can't sit on the same 3 eggs and expect them to hatch when they haven't hatched. You got to keep going. You need more names on the list. Number 5 is this, invest in your skills. This is the personal development side of things. Invest in your skills. I got to tell you that this is so important because even if you're not great right now, little by little, you'll become better, right? To me, there's 3 areas of skills that I would focus on. The first one is people skills, right? People skills. So, Danny Johnson trained me a lot on people skills. Going to her live events and seminars trained me a lot on people skills. That's really, and my people skills dramatically improved from that. But people skills, learning form in the 5 steps, stuff like that, personality types. The next one would be leadership skills. See, here's why I put people skills first, right? It makes no damn sense to develop your leadership skills if you suck with people. If you don't have no people to lead, why are you working on leadership skills? Like, get good with people first. And then as you get a crop of people to lead, then you work on your leadership skills to become a better leader. Does that make sense, right? So people skills, leadership skills, and then social media skills. Social media skills, right? I would be apropos to tell you to invest some time, looking into social media skills. I am not a master of social media, but I'm a hell of a lot better than I was. I mean, I remember when I was so reluctant to move from MySpace to Facebook that I missed the boat for like a year, right? But don't focus on every social media. There's all kinds of social media things out there. For me, it's like, Facebook and Instagram, and that's it. Don't get overwhelmed by everything that's out there, but learn some social media skills. I don't have time to do social media training tonight. I'm sure David can, find you something on social media, or you can find it on yourself. You don't have to rely on him. There's this great thing called Google. I don't know if you've heard of that or not, but you can actually go do your own freaking research without waiting for your team leader to bring it to you. Oh my gosh, you mean that you're actually in charge of your own personal development? Like, if you need to get better at social media, don't wait for Dave to bring a social media guru on this call. Go find the information. Google it. Own yourself. This isn't adult daycare. I tell my team all the time, like, they come to me with questions, and I'm like, idiot, I know the answer, but I'm not telling you. And they're like, why? I'm like, because there's 10,000 other ways that you could get it, and it's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm trying to make a second baby with my wife, and you're interrupting that from happening. How many of you don't want text messages at night? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to be answering Beachbody stuff 24/7. Well, guess what? The only way that happens is if you force other people to own it themselves. So I'm giving you the kick in the butt. Listen, don't wait for Dave. Don't wait for your upline diamond. Go find the information yourself. If it's important enough to you to be on this call, if it's important enough to you to succeed, you will go out and find the information, and you will study it. Okay? I'm trying to get better at eating. So I've been looking up a ton of stuff on this intermittent fasting. I don't know if you guys have read about this stuff, but so today I actually read an entire book. It was 128 pages called Eat, Stop, Eat. Because I have food issues, right? I'm a food addict. I've been obese my whole life. I've been fighting that battle. So I'm like trying to, I'm still in that fight. So I'm studying, intermittent fasting to do my own research. Does that make sense? So you do that. And then number 6 is this: master the basics. Master the basics, right? And we've described the basics all day. I mean, you got the 3 vital behaviors. If you don't know what those are, go look them up. But the basics are, be a product of the product, man. Keep inviting people we invite people to 2 things: challenge groups and coaching. That's it. Don't overthink this thing, but you got to open your mouth. Like, it has to, like, at some point you got to say, have you ever thought about being a coach? Right? To me, we should be putting coaching in front of people, because coaching changes lives just as drastically, as not more, than every other product that we have. Coaching is a product. It's just not tangible. It doesn't come in the form of a DVD. But coaching is our number 1 product. Okay? That an average coach will eventually pay you 7 times more than an average Shakeology customer. I want you guys to understand that, right? So in the long run game is this: that we need a marching army of people becoming coaches, so that we have a mission that's growing, right? It's a grassroots movement. I want you guys to understand that you guys are part of a grassroots movement. You're part of a grassroots movement that's combating the obesity epidemic in this country. That's combating we're combating the large food companies that are poisoning our people. You guys understand that? And it's a grassroots movement. And you guys are part of that. Well, don't we want more warriors in that grassroots movement with us? Absolutely. So when you don't tell people about coaching, guess what? You're slowing down the mission. Even if you're not someone that's going to go out there and tell 10,000 people, go find somebody with a big mouth and let them tell 10,000 people. How many of you know someone with a big mouth that ain't afraid to shout it from the rooftop? They're going to be great coaches. Go find them. Even if you're the quiet, shy type, go find a big mouth person. and let them become a coach because they ain't afraid. Does that make sense? If you influence one of them, they could turn into 10,000 people easily. Does that make sense? All right. And then the last one, number 7 is this, man. Stay engaged. Team engagement to me is the number one thing that you can do for yourself and your people. That includes calls. That includes, going to live events, getting to Summit. Imagine if David wouldn't have went to Summit. Here he is. He's a father of 3. He's a full-time police officer. His wife is a teacher. He could have easily said no to investing in going to Vegas and attending a large event like that. But he made that investment, time and money to get there. And look what it's turned into. Look what that's turned into, right? Imagine if he wouldn't have went and he would have missed that 10 minutes of time in the hallway with me. That shifted him. See, here's the thing. When you stay engaged and you get to these events, you never know what conversation you're going to have that's going to be the light bulb moment for you. And I promise you, I've had them myself, right? That's why I've continued to go to events. I've continued to plug my team into events, continue to host calls, and all those things. So one of the best things that you could do for yourself is invest in yourself by being there, right? How many of you know, listen, I coach high school football, and I know this. When a kid stops showing up, it's not a good sign. He's going backwards, right? When a kid stops showing up, he ain't showing up to weight room, he ain't showing up to conditioning. I got to tell you this, that when August practice comes around, he's going to get his ass kicked because he ain't been there, right? And then he's going to eventually quit. And then he's going to start getting into the wrong stuff instead of the right stuff. And he's going to slowly decline in life. Well, it's the same with Beachbody coaching. So the best thing you could do that is this: even when you don't feel like it, make sure that you show up. Make sure that you stay engaged. That this isn't going to be perfect. There's going to be times when you feel drained. There's going to be times when you feel like you can't fit it in. There's going to be times when you feel like you're not worthy. There's going to be times when you feel like the world is beating you up, and I don't care. Show your ass up. Get in the friggin' room, because it might be the one thing that you need to refill your sails. Right? That this mission requires us to do these 2 things: gather and scatter. Write that down. Gather and scatter. That's what we do. We gather and we fill each other up with belief. We fill each other up with direction. We fill each other up with hope, right? And then we scatter and we go out into the world and we spread our message far and wide to the people that we are supposed to be serving individually, right? So we gather on these team calls. We gather at Super Saturdays. We gather at summits. And then we scatter the rest of the time and take that energy out into the world. And I promise you this, that if you stick around, you find your niche, you trust the system, you decide what this is for you, and you do it relentlessly and unapologetically, I promise you this, that you will change lives, that you will get fulfillment from people thanking you, and that eventually it's going to turn into a paycheck that you look at and go, holy crap, did that just happen? I promise you. So with that said, I know it's been over an hour. I'll give it back to you.
Tommy, thank you. Holy crap. I'm just going to say it as it is. I mean, the messages coming in, the text. I shut my Facebook down because I said this is too many messages of people coming in. Absolutely amazing. I got one of my diamonds said, well, I see why you gravitate towards them. You just gravitate towards them. You guys sound the same at times. I said, yeah, no BS. But Tommy, the 2 big things is I always tell the team is that this business is simple tasks, just requires hard work and consistency. It's not hard. It's just hard work, and it's the consistency. And you kind of drove home at the end how important it is to not come and disappear and come to just show up every single month, and you can win this business in the end, right?
Yeah, man. And having those just monthly non-negotiables that you're going to hold yourself to, whether that's the number of Success Club points or whatever. I mean, imagine if you didn't have, if you didn't consistently do your workouts, then you would never get traction in your fitness, right? It's the same. If you only ate healthy 3 days a week or half the month, then you're not gonna stay fit. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same with this. It's like, simple things that you could do every day, right? Simple things that you can do, and you're either doing them or you're not doing them. This isn't rocket science, I mean, you think about, guys that play basketball. I mean, how many hundreds of free throws do they shoot every single day in practice in order to get good at that? And then in a game, in a pressure situation, it's a no-brainer. They get up there and they're hitting 95% of them, right? So the problem is when you expect better results faster than what you're getting them. And that comes with the realization that you're exactly where you deserve to be based on what you've done and the length of time you've done it. And that's just the truth. All right. That it's what you've done, the number of lives you've influenced, and the length of time you've done that. So are you influencing, 5 lives a month or 10 lives a month? If you only do that for 6 months, the reward is going to be minimal compared to if you did that for 5 years. For me, it's like the best thing that you could do is craft a vision for this long term. When I became a coach, I didn't become a coach to say that a year from now I won't be a coach. Like when I became a coach, it was a conscious choice that I made in my mind to make it part of who I am and what I do. And there's times I have to remember that. Even with as much money as I currently make, there's times when I go, why am I still doing this coaching thing, right? You know what I'm saying? And I have to check my emotional reasons. And I go, you know what, bullcrap, man, get over yourself. A lot of times when that's hitting me, it's because I'm coming from a selfish place. And I'm not focusing on the service of other people. So anyway, off my soapbox.
And the last thing on time, I just want you to take a minute and talk about, because my first summit was by myself. My second, I went with one guy. That's when I saw you. And then this past summit, 2014, there was about 10 of us, and now we have 30 registered, and I'm trying to drive home. Guys, you got to get there. You got to get this summit so important. So if you can just finish a minute on the importance of summit, and then I'll let you go and just thank you.
Yeah, I mean, Summit totally changed the game for me, because it was at Summit when I sat there. And what happened was I had buddies that kind of came in at the same time I did, and I got to Summit, and all of a sudden my buddies, my peer group, they're telling me they're making $3,000 a week, $4,000 a week as Beachbody coaches, and I'm like, that's stupid. Like I would never have made that doing what I was doing, right? And I thought, why not me? But I was kind of disgusted with myself. The only difference was they had worked harder and focused on it, and I was just kind of dabbling with it. I wasn't actually focused on it, right? And so I got to tell you that for me, it's been a life changer. I've been to 6, 7 summits in a row. I tell people all the time to get there. I mean, I know a lot of people, you look at the cost, right? Like you're looking at the cost. And when I studied economics in college, there's 2 things that you have to consider. One is the cost, but 2 is the opportunity cost, right? The opportunity cost, which is this. What would I possibly be able to make if I did go? Is that investment? See, it's not an expense, it's an investment, right? It's not an expense, it's an investment. And so, when it costs you, let's say, and you can do it, you can do it relatively cheap, man. Air flights right now are lower because gas prices have been down. So to book your flight, I mean, you could split a room with 3 or 4 other people and split the room cost. I mean, you can get a cheaper hotel in the Nashville area. Maybe you live within driving distance. Like, my point is this: I never used to travel. I never used to get anywhere. And my life didn't change until I decided to say, screw that. I'm getting my ass on a plane. I'm going somewhere. I'm getting around some other people. And once I got in that environment, how many of you know that you become what you surround yourself with? Right? Okay. So, and you are the average of the 5 people that you hang out with the most, right? So for me, what happened was when I started going to events like Summit, and I started going to events like Super Saturday, or I started going to a Dan Johnson event, I was in an environment full of positive, passion-driven people. Some of them had done better than me. Some of them had done worse than me, right? Does that make sense? But I was finally in an environment where I could grow and become something different than I could sitting in my hometown, right? And so the fact is this: there's going to be 20,000 Beachbody coaches there. So 20,000 people are going to be in that city. 20,000 people have said yes. Why haven't you? Why haven't you? What's holding you back? You know what I mean? Like just get there, because you don't know what conversation you might have, what speaker you might hear. It might even be just the fact that you get in a room and you got 4,000 people doing T25 with you, and you finally realize, whoa, this is way bigger than just me.
Totally.
You see what I'm saying? That's what hits you when you're sitting there and you've got 5,000 people working out with you. It'll put chills on I got chills right now thinking about it. It puts chills on your body, because you realize like this is legit stuff. Like when they talk, it's proof that the mission is true and the mission is real. And it finally comes into perspective because you've actually gathered, and you can, it's tangible now. How many of you, it's like the same reason like people don't want to, some don't want to believe in God because you can't see him, Well, how many of you believe in something more when you see it? Well, that's what Summit is. It's the visual and emotional and social proof that what we're doing is a friggin' awesome thing, and you'll come out of it with a lit fire like never before. So,
Tommy, thank you so much. You really inspire me each and every day, and this means a lot to me and the team from our connection a year and a half ago to now, and just unbelievable. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in Dallas in March at the leadership event. Break some bread with you, but thank you again for all the time, and I know my team thanks you. And say hello to Ashley, give a kiss to the little one, and I will talk to you and see you soon next month.
All right, man. Thanks, guys. Thanks for staying.